The cultivator, named Ran, was forced to live for 3,000 years because he wanted to reach the level of the Foundation Establishment realm. He was the Grand Master of the Qingming Sword Sect, but he also had the lowest level. One day, while the cultivators of the Qingming Sword Sect were cleaning, one of them noticed something strange in the spiritual pool, and then the sky suddenly darkened as well. Just a few moments later, the rest of them were struck by lightning, which turned out to be the work of thunder beasts. Others tried to run away, but many more were caught by these creatures. Until the sect leader, named Zhu, came there. When he noticed that the rest of the sect was in disarray, this made him angry, so he ordered everyone to attack the thunder beasts. Little did they know that the one who controlled the thunder beasts was just in the distance. Meanwhile, Ran was still busy in his cultivation, and was in Qi refining realm. He was still trying to reach the Foundation Establishment realm, but he still failed to do it. For this reason, he could not hold back his frustration and complained to the immortals he worshipped. Suddenly, he felt a tremor, and when he peeked outside, he saw the battle going on below. Since there were a lot of thunder beasts, Zhu and the other sect members were having a hard time. So Zhu was forced to summon Ran of Mount 7 Star to ask for help. Ran was currently on his way down using the cable because at his level, he had not yet been able to fly with the flying sword. It was only a few moments when he met the one that Zhu had assigned to ask help. This man did not know that Ran forbid flying at Mount 7 Star because it insulted him. Because of this, he took his flying sword and left the sect member there. When the thunder beasts heard the whistle, they immediately retreated. Then they heard laughing, and it turned out to be the supreme elder of the demon sect, named Feng. Zhu was surprised that he was there, because he thought that Feng was still in great desolation for the immortal test. So Feng said that he was already done, and showed off the changes in his body. Then he also said that he wanted to fight with Ran. Zhu said that Ran was still busy with his cultivation, and told him that he should look for someone else to fight. But Feng said that he was done fighting the others, and that he really intended to visit the Qingming Sword Sect because he also knew that Ran was still in his cultivation. When Zhu found out that Feng was the one who sent the thunder beasts, he got angry and immediately attacked him. Suddenly, something fell on Feng that he thought was a surprise attack by Zhu. But it turned out to be Ran, so Feng immediately approached him to show off his body. Then he tried to challenge him to a fight, but Ran immediately rejected him. When Ran was about to leave, Feng mentioned something about Ran's cultivation which angered him, so he was forced to fight Feng. Feng could not believe that Ran became this fast and strong. Because he could not keep up with Ran, he was beaten up until he could not stand anymore. But he was still happy that Ran had accepted his challenge to fight with him. And to show his gratitude, Feng said that he had a gift that would help Ran reach the Foundation Establishment realm. After hearing this, Ran immediately invited him to come inside. When he showed it to Ran, Ran got irritated because he could not read it. Fenf told him that he just copied it from a stone tablet when he was still in the Great Desolation. But according to Sui of the Blessedness sect, it was said to be about the secret of the Foundation Establishment realm, so he was assigned to give it to Ran. He told Zhu to translate what was written on the paper, so he would know what was being said on it. That night while he was in the Qingming Ancestral Hall to make an offering, he felt as if someone had entered. He was shocked to see Ling of the Hades realm, and Ling planned to take Ran with him. It turned out that it has been more than 50 years since Ran ate the everlasting longevity pill that added his lifespan, and his time was running out. And one of the reasons why Ling wanted to pick him up was because the immortal emperor would promote him if he could bring Ran. But Ran still refused to go with him, so Ling was forced to attack him. Ran tried to ask for an extra 10 days to complete his cultivation in the Foundation Establishment realm. Until he retaliated, causing Ling to be thrown out, and could do nothing but agree to the 10 days that Ran had demanded. The next day Zhu visited him to give him the herbs that he requested. Then he also begged him to repair the hole in the roof that was damaged the other night. One day, he asked to be sent below the mountains to buy the herbs that he needed for the everlasting longevity pill. As he was walking towards the Shangshuan kingdom, he was blocked by a group of men. They told him to pay them first if he wanted to pass through. But they were surprised because he did not even show any fear. This made them annoyed, so they decided to kill him. But before they could get close to him, someone suddenly came there to help him. Although this person was not a cultivator like him, Ran noticed that this man was able to reach the Qi refining realm by strengthening it in martial arts. Two other men also attacked, but they were unable to do anything until the martial artist knocked them down. Ran was amazed at the martial arts skill that this man had shown, so he approached him to ask where he learned it, but he just told him to go home because there were many zombies scattered around the area. Then this man left saying that he was going to get rid of the zombies. After Ran heard this, he came up with a plan, so he followed him until he reached a cave that was infested with zombies. After a while, the zombies appeared and immediately attacked the martial artist. Because there were a lot of zombies, the martial artist found it difficult to fight them until a zombie was able to hold him. But someone suddenly attacked this zombie, and it was done by Ran. When they were attacked by other zombies, Ran quickly grabbed the martial artist so they could avoid them. After he let go of the martial artist, he fought against the zombies and easily defeated them. The martial artist was amazed at what he showed, so he asked Ran his name. After he introduced himself, the martial artist introduced himself as Takan and invited him to come with him to Shangshuan Kingdom and asked his help to fight the zombies there. They went to a delight house because Takan wanted to talk to the owner. After they entered, Ren found out that the owner was Sui, who was also recognized as a witch because she allegedly seduced the emperor of Shangshuan Kingdom. Ran wanted to go out because he did not want Sui to see him, but she caught up with him. So while he was eating, he introduced the two to each other. He told Takan that Sui was the sect leader of the Blessedness sect, which was one of the demon sect. It meant that she belonged to the demon sect, but she was a noble. Since Takan suspected Sui that she was the mastermind in spreading zombies and had a plan with the emperor to conquer the entire Shangshuan Kingdom, Sui made it clear that she did not need to seduce the emperor if she desired the Shangshuan Kingdom. But Takan was still not complacent, and before he left, he told Sui that he would continue to watch her. The next morning when Ren went to buy herbs, he was surprised that none of the herbs on his list were available. According to the salesman, this was because the soldiers suddenly bought all the herbs that he had in stock. The two soldiers came there and asked the salesman if there was a child in their family. When Ran heard that they were looking for a child for the emperor's worship ceremony, he immediately pretended to be a stray child. The two soldiers were very happy and immediately brought him. On the other hand, the emperor was currently preparing for the worship ceremony. Suddenly the Princess Roe came there. Ran looked around the palace and he noticed that the princess looked like Takan. After a while, someone brought him food, so he asked him about the worship ceremony. According to this man, the ceremony will be held at the Imperial tombs, and he also learned that he would also be brought there on that day. After hearing about the Imperial tombs, he thought of something to do. While the princess continued to argue with the emperor about the worship ceremony, she also found out that the emperor also had plans on her marriage to the cultivator, named Sima. She immediately rejected it and said that Sima did nothing but encourage her father to perform this worship ceremony instead of killing zombies as a cultivator. But the emperor did not listen to her, so in her annoyance, she just left there. After a few hours, she talked to Sima to leave her alone. She knew that the reason why he wanted to help the emperor was to convince him to agree on their marriage. But Sima had no intention of following what he wanted, because he also planned to propose to her in the worship ceremony. Then he showed her a rose. She immediately rejected the flower, but she was pricked by a thorn. She did not know that Sima did it on purpose to get her blood. In the evening, Ran started to visit the Imperial tombs. When he went there, he took the treasures that were inside the coffins. After a few moments, he saw the Dragon Ball sword. But when he touched it, the traps placed in the area were activated. When he was about to be hit by arrows, someone suddenly pulled him. It turned out to be Takan, and they were both surprised and asked each other what they were doing there. They both came up with their respective reasons, even though it was obvious that Ran was stealing. They continued walking and entered the room where the coffin of the founding emperor was kept. When they approached the casket, Takan was surprised that it still looked new even though hundreds of years had passed. Ran suddenly turned off the candlelight, and that was the moment when the bloodthirsty array was activated. Ran was surprised at what Takan was planning to do, because she wanted to burn the coffin. He was worried because she might get caught for what she was planning to do, but according to Takan, it belonged to their family. To make her stop, he made her swallow the night pearl that he got earlier and brought her to the delight house. He told Sui of the disaster that could happen if the bloodthirsty array started, and it would definitely be blamed on Sui. Takan insisted on being able to speak, and she clarified that she was Princess Roe. So Sui released her from being tied, and asked Ran to go out first because she and Roe had something to talk about. After Ran came out, Sui showed the big scar on her back that shocked Roe. Then she told her about her past, and where she got this scar. She said that she was the daughter of a human and a monster king. But when she was young, the monster king tried to kill her with her mother. Because of her mother's sacrifice, she was able to survive. But the monster king did not expect that even though she was only half human, she was the only child who inherited his monster bloodline. This was the reason why he wanted to take her back to the monster realm, which was the reason for framing her in the zombie attack, so that people would hate her and be forced to return. But she did not return to the realm. Instead, she was able to stop the monsters from attacking the people, which would have caused the war. That was when she asked Ran to get in again to tell Roe about his plan. The next day, Roe told his father what Sui said, and to make him quickly agree to what Ran was planning, she also told him that Sui had a surprise for him. The day of the worship ceremony arrived, and when Sima was about to bring out the children to be offered, he was surprised that they disappeared. A few moments later, the children came out led by Ran to meet Sui. After Sui entered, she asked Sima to tell the Monster King that she would never return to the monster realm. Then Ran approached Sima, and when he saw the leaf from it, he knew that he was Oki, who was a tree monster, and the son of the tree monster that he had killed before. As soon as Oki found out that he was Ran, he immediately transformed into his true form. He wanted to avenge his mother, so he repeatedly attacked Ran until Ran was hit. Oki attacked again, so Ran fought against him and made him into different types of furniture. They were wondering if he was the one who put the bloodthirsty array in the Imperial tombs. But Oki said that the founding emperor placed it there because he wanted to live again. He added that the founding emperor intended to sacrifice his subjects for their continued worship of him. So Oki reminded Sui that humans were no different from them as monsters. But Sui said that she was not taking any side among the two, and she just wanted to prevent any kind of war. Suddenly, Oki took out the rose with Roe's blood to activate the bloodthirsty array. After a few moments, the people became dizzy and their blood was slowly absorbed. They approached Roe, and Roe decided to carry out Plan B. Ran broke the floor to the Imperial tombs, and Roe entered it. By the time they were discussing about the plan, they had already discussed Plan B in case the array was still activated. Sui said that she and Ran would try to force it to be destroyed, but there would be 10,000 people who might die. But Roe did not want this to happen, so Ran informed her another way. Since Roe inherited the blood of the Dragon Ball, she might have the ability to destroy the array. But the founding emperor would suck her blood, which could be the cause of her death. When she reached the bottom, she saw the founding emperor. She found out that this was the reason for the spread of zombies after sacrificing a few people for royalty cultivation. After hearing the words of the founding emperor, she started executing the Plan B. Because of this, the array gradually disappeared, but the founding emperor approached her to suck her blood. As soon as the array disappeared, Ran immediately went down and caught Roe. When he put her down, he threw the sword that he was holding near the founding emperor, so he would think that Ran was still in the chi refining realm, and this caused him to become complacent. But Ran suddenly attacked him, and founding emperor was surprised that he was so strong even though he was only in the chi refining realm. Until Ran decided to return him to his coffin. He took Roe upstairs so that Sui could stop the bleeding from her wound. Then she begged Ran to burn the Imperial tombs. He immediately followed her request, and burned the Imperial tombs. After some time and while he was watching the dead bodies below, he remembered the day when his master first appeared to him. He invited him to join his cultivation, and Ran immediately accepted it. It was only a matter of time when Ling came there to take the souls of those who died. While Sui was inside Roe's room to heal her wound, she asked her why Ran was so strong even though he was still in the chi refining realm. Sui replied that apart from Ran's chi refining realm as being special, he was also the Grand Master of the Qingming Sword Sect, which was the #1 sect in chi cultivation. And one of the reasons why he was special was because he had been in the chi refining realm for 3,000 years. It was not obvious, but he was being respected by cultivators and demons as a sword master, and without him, the cultivation realm might be in chaos. For this reason, Roe thought of applying as Ran's student. When they met again with her father, the emperor also helped and pleaded Ran to make Roe his student. But no matter what they both said, Ran really did not want to accept a student. 2 days later, Ling came back to take Ran. But since Ran still did not want to go, Ling once again used force on him. Ling opened a portal, but Ran was able to push him. Ran thought that he was saved, but Ling came back again. He held on tight to the tree branch so that Ling could not pull him, until someone threw him an everlasting longevity pill to add 5 years to his life. It turned out to be from Sui, and Ling could not do anything with it. A few days later, Roe visited the Qingming sword sect to once again beg Ran to make her his student. She talked to Ju, but he told her that he could not make a decision for Ran. Until he mentioned the current status of the sect after they were attacked by thunder beasts. Roe immediately got what Ju wanted to convey, so she promised to send 10,000 taels of silver to him the next day, which made Ju happy. Because of this, he immediately made Roe ride the flying sword, and said that they were going to go to Ran. When they got to the top, Ran immediately knew what Ju had done. So Ju immediately gave what Ran asked him to translate, so that he would not be scolded by him. Ran quickly took it, and while he was reading it, Ju also decided to go back down the mountain. He left Roe, and Ran could do nothing but let her stay there. In the evening, while Ran was reading what Ju handed over to him earlier, he still could not read it properly. Roe suddenly read it, and he was surprised that she could also read what was written on it. Because of this, he treated her well so that she could help him. The next day, Roe started to translate it, but she did not tell Ran about it first. It turned out that this was her strategy to force Ran to make her his student. Because of this, she was able to successfully convince Ran to agree to her wish. She immediately started the translation, and after a few hours, she completed it. But since Ran could not understand her handwriting, he just asked her to tell him. It was said that this stone tablet records the existence of a land immortal. It was also written that he lived on the ground, and that was why he was called the land immortal, because he was free from life and death. Ran asked if there was also written about any way to reach the foundation establishment realm. But according to Roe, that was all what was written in the copy that she translated. In that case, he decided to go to the Great Desolation so that he himself would copy it. They also took Feng with them, because he knew the exact location of the stone tablet. Using its flying sword, they immediately left for Great Desolation. While they were on the trip, they encountered different types of monsters that they quickly defeated. After some time, they also arrived at the Great Desolation. When Feng saw the exact location where he found the stone tablet, they decided to go down. But they could not find a stone tablet there, so Ren thought that Feng might have made a mistake like what happened to them before. Roe suddenly approached something moving that looked like eyes. When they noticed it, Ren quickly saved her because it turned out to be a monster, and Feng immediately killed it. Ran healed the wound of Roe, but when her blood dripped onto the sand, a magic circle was activated and the stone tablet appeared to them. Feng noticed that it seemed to be bigger than when he first saw it. Roe approached to read it, but when her blood got on it, the stone tablet lit up, and they felt a tremor again, so Ran quickly picked her up and they ran away. After the earth split up, they were surprised to see an ancient city emerge from it. They entered it, and as they were walking inside, Feng felt scared because they could hear people's voices but they could not see them. Roe said that she read earlier on the stone tablet that this land immortal was good at spatial skills. As they continued, it was here that the sky suddenly darkened, and they heard the sound of a bell. Ran noticed that Roe was no longer behind Feng, and they saw her walking ahead of them. Ran quickly approached to stop her, but since she still would not listen to him, he used his sword to counter the sound of the bell. That was when Roe lost her consciousness, and Ran immediately took her so they could leave. When they got out, Ran asked Feng to keep Roe away from there because he was going to copy everything written on the stone tablet. He immediately started to copy what was written on it, but the stone tablet was gradually sinking. So he sped up his writing and successfully copied it all before it completely sank. Then he also got on board and they returned to the Qingming sword sect. But they had no idea that a magic circle had been activated in their path because of the blood from Roe. When they arrived at Mount 7 Star, Ran thought that the Dragon Ball's bloodline might have something to do with what they discovered earlier. Another blood that fell from Roe reached a tree, and an ancient city also appeared there. When two people passed by, they were surprised by what they saw and immediately returned to inform the officials. Inside this city was the Prince of Land Immortal. One day, Ran started teaching Roe. He showed to her how he could make the water in the waterfall come back to the top. When Roe tried it for the first time, she could barely move the water. But when she repeated it a few times, Ran was surprised that she was able to successfully do it right away, so Ran thought that the blood of the Dragon Ball was really amazing. She was not only able to return water because there were different styles that she could create. Meanwhile, in the forging mansion or the forging sect, Elder Lu told their sect leader, named Lian, that the Emperor of Dongling Kingdom was asking for backup. Lian's brother, named Ren, came there and said that the Emperor might just wanted to have a drink. But Elder Lu said that the reason why the Emperor was asking for backup was because of the sudden appearance of the ancient city in the northern part of the territory of the Dongling Kingdom. He added that after they sent many soldiers and cultivators there to explore, none of them had returned. For this reason, they did not think twice about helping the Emperor, and Rin decided that he would come along to lead those that they would send. As Roe continued to train, she was able to level up quickly. So Ren once again complained to the immortals that he worshipped because he had not yet reached the Foundation Establishment realm. Until Roe reached level 9 that Ren made her stop, and begged her again to translate what he had copied from the stone tablet. When Ren came to the ancient city, they fought the soldiers of the Dongling Kingdom who turned like zombies. A few moments later, the bell was rung and at the same time, the monsters that Elder Lu recognized came from the divinity decomposition realm. As the bell continued to ring, the soldiers who were with them got affected by it. Until they completely lost their senses, and they all shouted that Emperor Qing should be removed and the Shin dynasty should be restored. A few moments later, they were showered with arrows, but fortunately, Rin was able to create a barrier immediately. Then he told Elder Lu to come back, and that he would take care of the situation. He came out of the barrier and fought the monsters alone. Even in different places, the ancient city had also appeared, causing the sound from the bell to attract those who heard it. A few hours later, the land immortal had already taken Ren. It possessed Ren's body, and the wisdom immortal also appeared. When Roe had reached the Foundation Establishment realm in just 3 days, Ran was constantly complaining to the immortals. Roe suddenly came there to inform him of what she had discovered about the land immortal. She said that a wise man made the ancient city to be a refuge, but it was occupied by the land immortal. And she also read that the Dragon Ball's blood had the ability to activate the ancient city. Suddenly, one of their members came there to inform Ran that the leaders of the Justice League of Cultivators and other members of the Demon Sect were currently talking about the ancient city. So Ran immediately got on board to go down and see them. As they continued to talk about the ancient city, Feng and Ju tried to encourage Lian not to lose hope. It was not long before Roe came there, and after a while, Ran came too. Roe told everyone that they accidentally activated the ancient city when they went to the Great Desolation. Because of this, Lian begged Ran to help his brother because his brother might also be controlled. He could also feel what his brother was currently feeling. Ran promised that he would find a way to help, and while Roe was looking for the possibility on where the ancient city was currently located, she suddenly discovered something. She said that the location of the ancient city was in the center of the array. They punched holes in the array and shined a light on it while above the map to see exactly where the center was located. They immediately went to it, and the location pointed by the array was correct. Ran entered there while the others were left outside to be his backup in case of a fight. While they were waiting, they also discussed about Ran. When Feng's student, named Jean, found out how strong Ran was, so she complained to his master why he did not introduce him to her. Then she approached Roe to ask if Ran was still accepting students because she wanted to be taught by him too. After a few minutes of searching for Ren, the opponents who were members of the forging sect suddenly came out to attack Ran. Ran defeated the rest of them, but he was surprised that he could not see their chance to be reincarnated. Because of this, he did not hesitate anymore, and eliminated them with just one attack. Meanwhile, Rin felt as if someone was coming to save him. But the land immortal also felt this, and he was happy that a strong cultivator had come to the ancient city. When Ran reached Ren's location, the bell rang again, but he quickly stopped it. Then he immediately took Ren, but he was suddenly attacked by him. Fortunately, he was able to stop it. The land immortal regained control of Ren's body and attacked Ran again, but Ran just returned it to him. The enemy found out that Ran was still in the chi refining realm, but he could not believe that Ran possessed that kind of strength. The enemy decided to retreat, so Ran quickly threw his sword at it and immediately returned to where his companions were. Lian immediately asked him about Ren, so Ren told them that although he and Ren had met, he could not forcefully save him because he was worried that Ren might get hurt. Then Ren asked Lian if anyone had returned to the forging sect that was with Ren when they attacked the ancient city. Lian remembered Elder Lu, who was the only one who returned to the forging sect. On the other hand, Ren could not bear what the land immortal was doing to him, so he wanted the enemy to just kill him. But the land immortal wanted to make him suffer, so that more people would come there, especially the strong cultivators that he could turn into his disciples. Ran was also mentioned in their conversation, and he also planned to use his body, but the wisdom immortal warned him to be careful with Ran because he could not defeat him easily. Ran pretended to be Lian and visited Elder Lu. He asked him what he remembered from the day that they entered the ancient city. But he pretended not to remember anything, so Ran let Roe and Jean in the room and forced him to drink the potion they brought. After they gave him a drink, Roe asked Ran how he learned that the Elder Lu in front of them was fake. Ran simply said that it was because this person forgot that Lian stuttered when he speak. They started asking about his name and he introduced himself as a disciple of the land immortal. Then they also asked if there was still hope for those who had been controlled to survive, but as Ran noticed, he said that there was no hope, not even reincarnation. Then Ran also asked the wisdom immortal if he knew how to reach the foundation establishment realm, but it did not answer him. It was the moment when Ling came out, since Ran knew that he had been watching them for a while. He approached Elder Lu's body to let its soul out. When the soul saw Ling, it tried to escape, but Ling caught it. Then Ling gave Ran an antidote to counter the spatial skill. Because of this, Ran immediately called for a meeting to plan their attack. He gave the sect leaders a copy of the counter formation in the spatial skill. But according to Zhang, even though they had an antidote, they still did not know where the ancient city would reappear. So Ran said that he left his sword in it, and because he could feel his sword, he would also know if the ancient city would appear. They noticed that Lian was not there. Feng knew that Lian locked himself up in the forging workshop. After a while, someone suddenly entered, and it turned out to be Lian. He begged Ran to allow him to save his brother. A few days later, Ran felt his sword in the Shangshuan kingdom, so he and Roe immediately went there to put notices to the residents in order for them not to get out of their houses. The ancient city appeared after a few moments, but the others were ready to attack it. As soon as it rang the bell, they immediately countered it. The land immortal did not expect that he would be ambushed. So he sent his disciples out, and Zhang group rushed at them. Feng followed, and Ran also assigned Roe to help them. When the land immortal saw that his disciples were being defeated, he decided to go out. He immediately overthrew most of Zhu's men. Zhu faced the enemy, but its strength was still stronger compared to him. When the enemy was about to attack again, Lian suddenly came to attack him. The land immortal rose again and he exchanged attacks with Lian. Until he managed to tear Lian's mask, but Lian also hit him in the eye. They continued to fight, and while Ran was watching them, the four women approached him. He instructed the three to start the array, and he rode the flying sword with Roe to go to the ancient city. The land immortal was able to hold Lian, and with the force that he released, it caused Lian's armor to be removed. But after a few moments, Rin was able to control his body, so he immediately grabbed Lian's sword to stab himself. Because of this, the land immortal was forced to leave his body. Then the enemy took Lian's armor, and when he was about to attack Lian, Ran got ahead of him. When he approached Lian, the land immortal rose again, so Ran quickly took his sword to block its attack. Then he asked the enemy where the wisdom immortal was. The land immortal replied that if he wanted to see the wisdom immortal, he must first give up his body. For this reason, Ran chose to fight the enemy, and based on what he showed in the fight, this made the land immortal wonder how Ran became so strong. But Ran noticed that his sword was deformed, so he quickly approached Lian to ask him about the weakness of his armor. When Lian told him this, he borrowed his sword. They saw the enemy trying to use his spatial skill, but he could not do it because of the spatial counter formation. Ran immediately approached the enemy, and it was the moment that he was able to break the armor. But just a few moments later, the so-called true mansion of the wisdom immortal emerged from the dark clouds. The land immortal said that the energy absorbed by the ancient city was used to open the wisdom immortal's mansion. Ran instructed Zhu to enter it, but he got scared and immediately made an excuse that he had a headache. So Zhang volunteered to go there, but as he was getting closer to it, he was suddenly struck by lightning. Shu quickly caught him, and they all approached to check Zhang's condition. Yushua arrived there and was amazed because he had finally seen the immortal mansion. He mentioned to Ran about the ancient books that he had read, and he learned that the cultivators in the Unity Realm could create their own mansions using the special spatial skills. Ran asked him if he knew a spatial skill or a way to get inside it, but even Yushua could not think of a way. In this situation, Ran instructed the other cultivators to stay there to watch, and he also told the leaders to return to the Qingming sword sect to discuss their next steps. While he and Roe were going back to the ancient city because he was going to ask his friend about something. When they returned to the ancient city, they found Ling guiding the other souls who were victims of the land immortal to the next realm. Ran asked him about the wisdom immortal. But Ling did not say much, he just pointed to the immortal mansion and said that he could find the answer to his question once he get there. Ran told him it was difficult to enter because of the lightnings, so Ling mentioned that at his level, it was possible that he would not be attacked by them lightning, and then Ling quickly left. When they got back to the Qingming sword sect, he told everyone about his plan that he would enter the mansion the next day. Although others were worried about him, he still wanted to try it. Roe made him think about what Ling had said, but Ran was confident that Ling would not deceive him. While the other members of the Blessedness sect were guarding the mansion, a man came and asked them what they were doing there at that time. He added that he noticed a strange sight in the sky, so he came to take a closer look. The people from the Blessedness sect replied that they were guarding the immortal mansion, and the man confirmed that this was indeed what he was thinking. Little did they know that there were cultivators who were approaching the mansion. When they were struck by lightning, the two members of the sect were about to tell the man to leave, but he suddenly disappeared. They saw him that he was on his way to the mansion, and successfully entered it. They quickly informed Sui, so after a few minutes, Sui arrived at the Qingming sword sect to inform Ren about this. They also found that the cultivators who were lower than the nascent soul realm were not attacked by lightning. So they confirmed that what Ling had told them was correct. Because of this, the other leader asked Rand if he could let the other disciple to join him tomorrow, and he agreed. While he and Roe were in the Qingming ancestral hall, Roe insisted on going with him, but Rand did not allow her because it was dangerous. But Roe insisted, saying that her blood might also be the key for them to defeat the land immortal. Rand still did not agree and said that he did not want to lose his first student. But since Roe did not stop insisting, Rand was convinced at last. He gave her 3 bamboo slips with his sword energies sealed on them, and told her that if her life was in danger inside the mansion, she could use them. Jean suddenly came with tea and snacks for Rand. She also told her about her plan to go with Rand to the mansion. Rand wanted her to wait for Feng to ask for his permission, but according to Jean, it was not necessary because there was nothing he could do about her decision. Meanwhile, the land immortal also found out that a cultivator had entered the mansion. Because of this, he thought that it would not take long for Rand to enter there, and this was his chance to get his body. But the wisdom immortal just laughed at him because he still would not give up even though he had already been beaten by Rand. So he mentioned that he would use the illusion of 8 pains in life. On the other hand, Rand's group wanted to see the reaction of the mansion using the secret puppetry skill of the forging sect. It only took a few moments for the mansion to react, so Rand moved quickly to block it. Suddenly, a message from the land immortal manifested, and it was inviting him to enter the mansion. Because of this, he decided that they were going to enter, and he asked the disciples who would go with him to prepare. But he did not expect that his companions would be all women. Feng said that Jean was the most qualified to represent their sect on this mission. Sui's reason for choosing Mei, and Zhang's reason for choosing Yanfei were also the same. So Rand could not do anything about it but let them join him. Before they left, he gave the girls time to say goodbye to their masters. After that, when everyone was ready, they took out their flying swords. Roe offered Rand to ride with her, but since Rand felt insulted that he could not fly it, he let them go ahead first. Then that was the moment he asked Sui for a favor so that he could go to the mansion. With the use of Sui's power, he ascended like he was just walking on the stairs. When they all entered the mansion, the land immortal also saw them immediately. Because of this, he had activated the first pain of life. Rand's group went to a place where a stone tablet could be seen, and the 8 pains of life or birth, age, illness, death, separation, hatred, disarray, and obsession were engraved. They learned that whoever passed these 8 pains will attain immortality. Behind it, they saw the tunnel for the first pain, or the pain of birth. When they entered it, they were amazed at the beauty of this place. Ran noticed the psychedelic smoke around, so he immediately told the girls not to breathe, but it was too late. Because of the psychedelic smoke that they inhaled, they all entered into the illusion that they all desired Ran. The four of them fought, and since no one wanted to lose, they held onto Ran. Out of annoyance, Ran decided to absorb all the psychedelic smoke to make the beautiful scene disappear, and the girls to come back to their senses. But after a few moments, the walls gradually moved closer to them until they were stuck in it. It turned out that this was the pain of Birthgate. Fortunately, Ran still thought of a way to get them out of it. When the land immortal saw this, he got so angry that Ran's group was able to get through it. Next, they went to the pain of age, and while Ran was reading the information about it, the land immortal activated the area. It targeted the four girls. When the light shone on them, they all suddenly became old. Ran read that the place had the ability to manipulate time. And when he was about to say that to the girls, he was surprised that they were all now grannies. When the girls looked at each other, they laughed at what they saw until they realized that they were all the same and were old women. Ran tried to calm them down with nice words, but it did not work, and they even scolded him. The land immortal was very happy with what he saw, and he would also try to make Ran look old as well. But even though the light had already shone on Ran, he had not changed a bit. The land immortal could not believe this, so he asked the wisdom immortal what was the reason why Ran did not grow old. Although the wisdom immortal knew the answer to this, he did not tell it to the land immortal, and this made the land immortal got angry with him that he was thrown against the wall. As Ran's group continued to walk, the old ladies immediately got tired, and this caused them to fall asleep. As a result, Ran was forced to lift them up. When they got to the next room, Ran could not handle their weight anymore. But the girls all came back to their normal form. Then they also noticed the beautiful flowers in the area. But since Ran noticed that they were emitting an unusual smell, he immediately told them to protect themselves with their spiritual energy. They were currently in the third pain of life, or the pain of illness. They continued to walk, but after a while, the flowers began to absorb their spiritual energy which they made to protect themselves. After Ran noticed this, that was when Roe started to have trouble breathing. Little by little, their spiritual energy ran out, so May and the others had also been hit by various kinds of diseases. Because of this, Ran quickly created a barrier to protect the girls and give them time to accumulate their spiritual energy. Then he cut all the flowers so that they could no longer absorb their spiritual energy. But it did not work because they still continued to absorb energy until even the barrier that he created gradually disappeared. When it completely disappeared, he immediately created another barrier. He thought of another way, but he did cut the flowers once again. Then it was here that he released a lot of spiritual energy. There were so much of it that the flowers could not absorb them anymore until they spontaneously burst. A few moments later, none of them were left, and the diseases of the girls also disappeared. Yanfei was embarrassed, so she walked away to get dressed. Because Ran released so much spiritual energy, Roe asked him what level he was in the chi refining realm. Ran replied and said that from what he remembered, he might already be at level 66,660. The wisdom immortal laughed at the land immortal because its plans did not work on Ran. He added that if Ran were to overcome the pain of death, the land immortal could no longer eliminate him. When they reached the pain of death, Ran already knew where the gate in front of them was heading. It turned out to be a gate to the Hades realm that he refused to enter. After they entered it, the land immortal asked the wisdom immortal why he could not see what was happening inside. According to the wisdom immortal, he did not create the Hades realm, and the only thing he made was the gate of it. The girls were amazed at the beauty of the Hades realm because it was not what they expected. A few moments later, Ling arrived and was wondering why Ran came there. He had been inviting him several times, but Ran would always refuse to come. Ran told him that it was only because of the land immortal's actions, and he did not expect that a portal had been prepared leading to this realm. Ling said that the spatial skill used on it was at an immortal level, so they had no control over it. He also mentioned to Ran that his boss already knew that he was there and wanted to see him. So Ran remembered Yama and accepted his invitation. Before they could enter inside, they needed to pass through the Forgetting Bridge. On this bridge, the souls were made to drink a special soup that had the ability to make the drinker forget his past. Since they were only guests there, the woman only brought up their bad pasts. Ran complained because he had to drink a big jar of soup. But the woman said that it was not that much because there were even more in stock for him. When they looked at the special soup that was for Ran, they saw his failures just to reach the Foundation establishment realm. After this, they continued towards Yama's place. When they were there, they did not do much but to have fun. After a while, the Land Immortal could not believe that Ran's group was about to leave the Hades realm. The Wisdom Immortal already knew from the beginning that Ran would not have any problem in that realm. The Land Immortal was furious and immediately activated the next pane of life. When they entered, Ran read about the next pane. He was surprised that the 3 panes of life were combined up to the 7th. It starts with the 5th pane, which was hatred, the 6th pane, which was disarray, and the 7th pane was obsession. When he looked behind him, he was surprised that his companions were no longer there. Then he saw his past when he was still with his master. Next was the day that his parents left him. And the last thing that was shown to him was the Foundation Establishment book. Meanwhile, the girls were also currently being tested, and their bad pasts were also shown to them to test their will. While May was forbidden by her companions to go out because they said that the men might look at her and mistake her for a witch. May was very happy with what was being shown to her because Ran was in awe of her while she was showing her elegance. And what was shown to Yanfei was when Zhang told her to quit becoming a warrior. But they consistently did not let these dishearten them and destroyed all the bad things shown to them. After what happened, none of them fell prey to Land Immortal's plan, and he was so angry that no one fell into his trap. But it turned out that he had prepared something else. After a while, the ones they broke suddenly gathered and became inner demon. It attacked them, so Ran quickly created a barrier from the bamboo slip. But since the barrier would not last long and might be broken, he gave the girls 1 bamboo slip each. He wanted these to serve as their defense while he fought the inner demon. As they separated, the inner demon followed Roe, but she easily created a barrier. That was when Ran took advantage of the opportunity, and with just 1 attack, he immediately defeated the inner demon. He noticed the yellow thing that fell from it, and when he picked it up, it turned out to be a moonstone. When the girls approached him, he asked them if they had inner demons. While the Land Immortal was so stressed, the Wisdom Immortal was just laughing at him. He liked Ran because he could make the Land Immortal's head hurt. After the girls obeyed Ran's request, he accumulated a lot of gems. Until the girls could no longer release their inner demons. But because of Yanfei's effort, she was able to release another one, and Ran immediately fought it. A few moments later, Jean released something that she did not know. When Roe saw it, she immediately stopped it from biting Jean. Yanfei quickly attacked it, but she was surprised that it did not turn into a gem, and when it licked Roe's blood, it grew even bigger. Roe immediately thought that it might be because of her blood, and when it attacked them, Ran came to help. When Ran noticed Roe's wound, he immediately thought of the reason for the sudden growth of the inner demon. He fought it, and even though it was very strong, he was still able to defeat it. When he defeated this, he gave the image storing stone to Roe, so that he could take an image of the whole place. Once they got out of it, they would have Yushu look at it. While Roe was doing Ran's order, the Land Immortal was wondering if she was the descendant of the Dragon Ball bloodline. And if it was true, he would also make sure that she would perish there. Meanwhile, at the Delight House, Fong had a drink with Sui because it had been a few months and Ran's group still had not returned, and he was worried about Jean. When he fell asleep, Sui felt that Chloe was outside, so she let her in. She informed her that the Monster King or her father had died. Chloe begged her to return and take over his father's leadership. She reminded Sui that their elders were not united, and the chaos might get worse, which may lead them to attack the people as well. Meanwhile, Ran released an inner demon and let the girls fight it as part of their training while Roe was not yet done with what she was doing. Ran taught them how to fight as a group. They quickly learned from his teachings and were able to defeat the inner demon. Roe also wanted to be able to fight the inner demons because she was bored with what she was doing. But Ran did not let her and just told her to continue what was asked of her to do. Since Ran was not involving Roe in the fight, the Land Immortal decided to go to their location so that he could face them himself. Just as Roe finished what she was doing, the inner demon of the Land Immortal appeared to them. Ran insulted the enemy and made him angry, causing him to attack, but Ran easily blocked it. Ran had not stopped teasing it, so the inner demon continued to attack, but Ran was just playing with him. Until the enemy attacked with one of its strongest attacks, but it still did not work and Ran retaliated. That was the moment when Ran decided to take it seriously, and with just one attack, he defeated it immediately. The sect leaders gathered at the Qingming sword sect, so Sui could inform them of what Chloe had told her. Each of them had their own opinion on the possibility of war with monsters. But Sui said that she only informed them so that they could prepare, but it did not mean that they would go to war, and they should wait for Ran to return. But if there was no other way, he would return to the monster realm. While Roe was picking the gems, Ran kept making the inner demon cry. A few moments later, Mei suddenly screamed, so Ran approached her. She said that it was possible that something bad was happening outside, because she felt that Sui's message jade was broken. Ran immediately understood Mei, and decided that they would get out of there. But when he turned to the inner demon, it suddenly disappeared. It turned out that it was targeting Roe. When Ran noticed it, the inner demon already grabbed her and he could not save her. They suddenly heard the voice of the land immortal telling Ran to go to his place if he wanted to save Roe. Then the floor where they were standing collapsed, and the wisdom immortal knew that they were heading to his location. Ran got there first and caught the girls one by one. When he was about to enter the portal to look for Roe, he heard the wisdom immortal's voice asking for help. When Ran helped him, it immediately introduced himself as the wisdom immortal that he was looking for. He also mentioned the possible condition of Roe and told Ran where she was located. But before he said this, the wisdom immortal wanted to make an agreement with Ran. He wanted that if Ran was able to defeat the land immortal, he had to return there to get him out of this mansion. If he could do this, Ran could ask everything that he wanted from the wisdom immortal. Ran asked if there was also a way to reach the foundation establishment realm. But the wisdom immortal seemed to have thought about it, and said that they would talk about it when he came back. Ran agreed to this, so the wisdom immortal also mentioned that this mansion was made of Dragon Ball blood. It was possible that the Prince of Land Immortal would use Roe's blood to revive this great demon. Meanwhile, Roe was currently tied to the main brain of the mansion. She tried to free herself from it, but because of the amount of blood that was absorbed from her, she slowly became weaker. Ran had assigned Yunfei to handle the wisdom immortal while he was gone. Then he quickly entered the portal to reach Roe's location. When he came there, the skeleton of the great demon that had reawakened due to Roe's blood immediately appeared to him. It attacked him repeatedly until he had a chance to retaliate and cause wound to the enemy. But he did not expect that its injuries would heal quickly. They exchanged attacks again, but the damage that he caused to the enemy still did not work. The land immortal told him that every time he wounded the great demon, it also absorbed Roe's blood faster. He attacked it again, but it also regenerated quickly. Until Ran saw its heart, and when he was going to aim for it, the enemy quickly moved away. It attacked Ran with one of its strongest attacks, but Ran did not even mind it. It was here that Ran had a chance to break his heart, causing it to disappear completely. Then he saw Roe whose blood was still being absorbed by the enemy. The land immortal warned him not to take any action, because Roe was already connected to the enemy. And if he tried to cut any of the connections, Roe would die. The wisdom immortal did not expect that the land immortal was planning to activate the entire mansion with Roe's blood. When the girls heard him, they forced him to tell what he knew. So the immortal wisdom added that the Prince of Land Immortal would use Roe's blood to revive the skeleton of the great demon. Since he already knew that he would not be able to win against Ran, he decided to connect his 3 souls to Roe. It just meant that it would try to activate and control the entire mansion. But the problem was that Roe's blood would surely run out. Roe's situation was difficult because if the connection was cut, she would die, unless the land immortal himself cut his connection with her. The land immortal told Ran that if he gave up his body, he would release Roe. Ran agreed to land immortal's wish to take his body, but Roe did not agree to it. So Ran reminded Roe again of what he had given her before they entered there. It was here that Roe remembered the bamboo slips that he wanted her to use in case her life was in danger. When Ran was ready, the 2 souls of the land immortal came to him to start taking his body. But before they could enter his body, Ran suddenly grabbed them. It turned out that he planned to capture at least 2 of the enemy's souls because he knew that Roe was capable of defeating one of the souls. When he was about to eliminate the 2 souls, he also signaled to Roe to use the bamboo slip. With the power that he released, and the power from the bamboo slip, it damaged the main brain of the mansion, and this saddened the Wisdom Immortal. When Rand saved Roe, they immediately returned to their companions. When they got there, he noticed that the Wisdom Immortal's appearance seemed sluggish. He approached him so that they could be teleported outside, but according to the Wisdom Immortal, there was no use even if they went out because they would all just die. He explained that when Rand destroyed the main brain, he also destroyed the core of the mansion, and it would not take long for the mansion to be destroyed. It meant that everyone outside of a 100-mile radius could die. Meanwhile, as the meeting continued, one of Zhang's men informed them of what was happening in the Shangshuan Kingdom. Because of this, they immediately headed to Shangshuan Kingdom, which was currently in chaos due to the falling debris from the mansion. Rand picked up the Wisdom Immortal and told it to teleport them outside, which it immediately obeyed. As the debris continued to fall, the barrier they created was no longer able to stop it, causing other debris to go straight to other cultivators. Because of this, Feng decided to let Sui leave, and that he would be the one to take care of the situation. Suddenly, Rand's group arrived and gave them hope. After he saw the situation at the top, he told everyone to stay away from there, then he let Zhu hold the Wisdom Immortal. When he was the only one left there, he used his energy to try to destroy the entire mansion. While the others were watching him, their faces showed concern on what he was doing. But just a few moments later, he successfully absorbed them all and saved the entire Shangshuan Kingdom. A few days later, Roe also woke up. She saw Jean in the room, so she immediately asked her what happened in Shangshuan Kingdom because it worried her. Jean immediately said that he had nothing to worry about because Rand saved the Shangshuan Kingdom. Rand was currently talking to the Wisdom Immortal to ask him if he could reach the Foundation Establishment realm. The Wisdom Immortal replied that he would be able to reach it, so when Rand heard this, he could not hide his joy. But when he asked how he was going to achieve it, the Wisdom Immortal did not know the answer either. He added that Rand was possibly a cultivator with immortal envy. It meant that he possessed a very strong power that made the immortals envy him. The immortal wisdom also revealed that people like him had an unlimited energy center and unlimited power. Although he didn't know how Rand would reach the Foundation Establishment realm, he had seen in an ancient mural the first cultivator who also had immortal envy, and he suspected that he was able to pass the chi refining realm. He added that it was also possible that his rivals were also immortals, because from the mural he saw, the first cultivator like him was also fighting immortals and even monsters. When he heard that there might be a monster who knew a cultivator like him, he thought of going to Sui. They discussed about Sui's plan to return to the monster realm, and he intended to go with her. But he needed to help her tame the monsters who would not follow her leadership. This is the end of the last episode of I Have Refined Chi for 3,000 Years. I hope you like it and give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe to my channel so you won't miss newly uploaded videos. Thank you for watching.